Hello and welcome to E-Magazine. I'm your host, Brandon Nyami Chaba. Now, on E-Magazine, we have explored the music market in Kenya and the music industry as a whole quite a lot on this show. Now, today, we're looking at something slightly different, but still in the music industry, as we try and understand the different areas in the music market in Kenya one can explore and the different kind of music one can produce. Now, joining me today is a music producer, the one and only Spark Mike, but he focuses on a specific kind of music that's quite different for the Kenyan market, known as dubstep or hands up. But now Mike is going to let us know a little more about this particular music he produces and how exactly he works with the Kenyan market, knowing that it's very different. Thank you so much for joining me on E-Magazine.
Thank you very much.
How are you doing, Spark? How are you doing?
I'm doing quite great. Thank you very much for asking.
I'm curious to know why the name Spark. Spark Mike.
This one goes back to back then when I would get angry and my eyes would turn red. And
wow. So there's a serious story behind that, Spark Mike. I was thinking because you make sparks with your music, you know, that's what I was thinking was coming from. Great. Now, Spark, I just want us to get right down to business and you break it down for us and try to understand what dubstep and hands up. What kind of sound of music is that? Because a lot of people are not familiar with it.
Okay. Dubstep is a type of electronic dance music that originated back in, say, the 2007 era. And it's mostly bass heavy, so most of the time people would listen to dubstep, would listen to dubstep using subwoofers and the like. It's just like the way we would listen to trap music, but in this sense you'll have heavily modified sounds and different producers and sound designers making their own music and making their own sounds and incorporating them into this one specific genre.
Okay.
So dubstep is just a collaboration of people coming up with different ideas and making something completely complex.
Okay, wonderful. That's a very clear explanation for some of us or individuals who just don't understand what dubstep is. I want to know when you got the interest to venture into producing such music.
It all started back when I was in in college. I had an interest in music before, and I wasn't that much deep into music as much as everyone else was back then.
Yes.
So when I started making, when I got into animation, when I was in Shangtao, by the way. So when I went to Shangtao, my initial interest was in animation. So making animation was what I was looking for specifically. And then I realized that animation had its own limitations. You need some beefy machine to make animation, and trying to convince someone to invest in you to buy the specific resources that you need to make animation.
Yes.
It will require quite a lot of convincing. So I decided to venture into what I had in mind. What I was limited to specifically.
Okay.
So music production and graphics designing in especially Photoshop and the likes, you don't need that fast of a machine to work with. So I ended up using the latter because the machines are easier to get and they're cheaper.
Okay.
And that's how I ventured into music production. You would have two choices. You either venture into animation, so you need a beefy machine, or you go for the cheaper option, which is graphics designing and music production. And that's what I ventured into most. So
okay.
Experimenting with animation was hard, but in the meantime, making music, which is what I was most exposed to, and that's where I ended up.
Okay, wonderful. That's an interesting story. Now, I really want to know how your journey so far has been when you decided, okay, I'm going to venture into music production. How's it been for you so far? The music you produce, what's the feedback you've gotten from your audience, your fans?
Well, I've received a lot of feedback from people, especially people who are interested in exploring different types of genres. We have a group of individuals locally that are open-minded for new genres.
Yes.
And there are specific individuals, just people that I will get to meet every now and then. It's not that there's already an existent club of individuals that would want to explore music, and you would give them, you would spoon feed them. This is what there is. Finding people was quite hectic.
I can imagine. I can imagine.
Yeah. So I decided to go online. Most of the people that make my music are producers from overseas.
Okay.
See, hands up, hands
Yes.
up, hands up has the feeling of, has a techno feeling. And it originated back from the 90s in Eurodance.
Yes.
So back when we were listening to Akina Ace of Base, Aqua, Venga Boys, but my Uncle John,
I can
those kind
imagine.
of, that kind of music. So it originated, it transitioned into minor with some few of trance elements, and it eventually ventured into its own specific genre. So Hands Up, most of the producers that make Hands Up are originally from Germany.
So it's just a European sound,
Yeah,
basically.
it's universal. We have producers from US, we
Yes.
have producers from
Yes.
Australia, but most of them, they come from Europe, especially Germany, Sweden, and a few others from Poland and all the other nations that are in the EU.
Okay.
Finding people that are interested is as simple as posting your music and hoping for the best.
Someone likes it.
Maybe someone might notice and they might forward your stuff.
Yes.
Hey, I found this guy from Kenya and he makes good music. Oh my God. So I find my inbox with a few other messages from other producers.
That's amazing.
And they're very happy that I make this stuff. And they're like, how is it that you make this stuff from Africa? We have never heard a producer from
Now
Africa.
I have a question for you since you mentioned that.
Yeah.
No, a full fact of, Kenya started embracing techno music, not even just dubstep or hands up. Techno music, I feel like came into Kenya just recently, not just as far back. I want to say we started embracing it just recently. And there are a lot of clubs in Kenya that, play techno music, they play dubstep. We have events for dubstep, we have events for hands up.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you find yourself moving on to the audience that's outside the country, global audience rather than Kenya, because it's a very small community who actually listen to the music that you make, this kind of music that you make? And is that a struggle for you?
Okay, to start off, in Kenya, dubstep events are very minimal, if there is any, because I haven't heard any dubstep events. Hands Up is completely new. I'm like the only person in East Africa that makes hands up. You take that from me. And then, when it comes to dubstep, I haven't met anyone specifically that has made, the cleanest form of dubstep. But the sound that I made, it's quite unique.
Okay.
So you might find some people that are maybe experimenting with dubstep, but it sounds more like when it first started off with some wobbles and heavy, some minor sounds.
So you're just trying to tell us yours is way more unique than the rest. No one is doing it like you.
Yeah, no, I don't think I have. Because producers from overseas are already complimenting on what I'm doing. They haven't met maybe there might be some other people that are making something that's better than what I've done. But as of now, it's just me. Now, in the sector of maybe going overseas, maybe plans will come forward if I say registered here. I'm signed here. I found some people that are interested in what I do overseas. The problem is they want to sign me as long as on the condition that I'm locally signed.
Okay.
I don't know of any record labels that are available locally that sign people like me and people that make, say, techno music or EDMs to be specific.
And is that something that has kind of discouraged you?
It's sad, really. There are events, but they are mostly centered around house music. Say because it's the most popular type of
House
EDM
music, 100%, yeah.
Yeah. So when it comes to mainstream music, it's probably what people play mostly out there. You will hear people talking about when you mention dubstep, to someone they will give you Skrillex, and some of the more mainstream people, but from back then.
Okay.
So there are other people that are better off, say, than Skrillex, but since Skrillex is, as an artist, is the most popular, you will find his music almost everywhere. So here, when you mention, say, house music is what's being played everywhere.
Yeah.
So when you give someone something different, they...
Don't embrace it.
Yeah, it's completely new to them. It's something that's peculiar, and exploring something different. It's not that someone can't explore the music, but you need a form of medium that will say
Okay.
explore this type of music.
Very true.
So we
But
need,
when you look at house music when it first came into Kenya, of course, the majority of us were wondering, what's this? What's
Yeah.
house music? But where we are right now, we've embraced it. So do you feel like at some point, dubstep and hands up will be embraced by the Kenyan, audience?
exactly, completely. People will. It's an energetic sort of form of music, and it's best for clubs and events and say concerts. So if you say throw a hands up event, guaranteed people will be there and they will be screaming and lifting their hands up and talking about how much of a great time that they're having and
Yes, yes.
and the music. You won't lack people complimenting on the music. People go there for the music.
Yeah.
But more people go there for the hype that they get from the music.
Wonderful.
So you, instead of, it's somewhat different. Blues, you listen to blues with your headphones and with the speakers and you're just there.
But
hands
dubstep
up,
and hands up, we have to jump, we have to be
yeah,
energetic.
you need to be there
We have to embrace the
screaming and
music.
head banging. Yeah, if you come from an event and you don't have a headache, I don't know what it is.
It
that
doesn't.
you're
It's
doing.
not dubstep.
Yeah. It's
Well,
not.
Spark, I really want us, as much as you've explained it to us, and now we can understand. We understand what hands up and dubstep is. We're gonna take a break, but when we come back, we're gonna have Spark Mike play some of his music and his work for us. Just we can familiarize yourself with what exactly he's talking about. But do not go anywhere. You're watching the magazine.